Hi, my name's Clay Ortiz. I'm going to be making a how-to video for you today. The video is going to be on rafter length, how to find it, and how to lay out a rafter. The first thing you need to know on cutting a rafter is you need to understand pitch, roof pitch. This is a little template that I made to illustrate pitch and the different angles. Across the bottom, it's 12 inches from this point to this point. So you have 12 inches. This is your run across here. And this will be your rise up this way. And each one of these marks is 1 inch. So the first one represents a 1 in 12, 2 in 12, 3, 12, all the way up to the top angle here that's cut is the last one that I did, which is 12 and 12. Okay, now that we know the pitch we're going to use, in order to find a rafter length, we've got to know how much run it is. And like we said, we're going to work with 3 feet, 36 inches. That's from this point all the way to the other side. Overall, it's 36 inches. But we don't have a rafter that uses 36 inches to run. We use half of that makes our run. So it's 18 inches. So that's how much rate the rafter is. But one other thing we can't forget is the ridge. Whatever ridge you're using, you got to subtract half of the thickness of our ridge, because the rafter actually doesn't rake all the way up to a point. It rakes up and it hits a ridge beam, which typically is 1.5 inches thick. So we got to take off half of 1.5 inches, which is 3/4 of an inch. See, their overall is 1.5 inches. Half of that is 3/4, because you have 3/4 of it on this rafter for this side and 3/4 for the rafter on that side. So our overall run is 18 inches to the center, back off 3/4 for the ridge. So the actual run is going to be 17.25. That's what we're going to use in our formula to figure out our rafter length from plumb cut here to this plumb, to the long point, the plumb cut there. Okay, so here's the number we need. Now that we have our run, the other part of the equation, we got to have the rise as well, which in our case it's easy because it's a 12 and 12, so whatever your run is, your rise is the same thing. So ours is 17.25 run, 17.25 rise, okay, because it's a 12 and 12, so you got 12 inches of run, 12 inches of rise. See, it's the same. So the Pythagorean theorem, the way you do it, a squared plus b squared equals c squared. So what we're going to do here is use our 17.25. So you gotta convert it to decimals, and so it's 17.25. So what we're going to do is 17.25 times 17.25 equals, okay, and then it gives you this number here, 297.5625. Okay, and then you do it again, which is the same number, so you got to add those together, 297.5625. So plus 297.5625. Quicker way is just multiply it times 2, but equals that, and then you got to get the square root of that. So you hit the square root button, and that gives you this number, 24.395. Which we're just going to make it 3/8. We're going to round it. 3/8 is 0.375, so that's close enough. Okay, so our rafter length is 24.375, or 24 3/8, and that's from this point to the long point. So there, we figured it. But the problem is, if it's not a 12 and 12, I want to show you how to get that number. And what you do the math the same, but the thing is, your rise is not going to be the same as your run if your pitch isn't a 12 and 12. So what you have to do is you have to divide you have to figure out what it is per inch of rise. Okay, so let's say we're doing instead of 12 and 12, it's a 10 and 12. Our run is the same, 17.25, but we're going to do 10 and 12. So what we're going to have to do is divide 10, because you got 10 inches of rise, by 12 inches of run. So divide 10 by 12 equals 0.8333 per inch. That's how much rise we're going to have. All right, so we multiply this number times our run, okay? So times 17.25 equals, okay? And that's how much rise we would have if we were doing a 10 and 12 instead of a 12 and 12, okay? So our rise number over here would be 14.37. Well, we're going to make it 3/8. Well, 375. Okay, so you take that number right there, and you do the same math problem again, but just using this number rather than this one twice. So what you would do is 17.25 times 17.25 equals the same number here. We already got that, established that. Okay, and then our other number, clear that out. Our other number is 14.375, so we're going to go 14.375 times 14.375 equals, okay, we're going to add that number to the first number, plus 297.5625 equals, okay, and hit your square root, so we got 22.454, which I'll round that to a ½ inch, so we'll say 22.5 inch. So 22.5 is would be our rafter length if we were using a 10 and 12 instead of a 12 and 12. And it's the same for any number. I mean, you could do 6 and 12, 1 and 12. Anyway, the math's the same. So that's the way you would do it with a regular calculator, which I assume that's the way most of you will do it. If you have a construction calculator, just to show you how much easier it is, if we were to do that, you're going to go 12-inch pitch, 17-inch, 17.25-inch run, and then you hit diagonal, and there it is. That much easier. You don't have to convert anything. So that's how you do that. Okay, now that we know our rafter length, I'm going to show you how to mark your rafter. What you do is hook your board. That's called a long point. You hook it there, and you pull your measurement. Okay, we did the math. We know our rafter length's 24 3/8. So come over here and you mark 24 3/8. But you got to mark it on this top corner because you're pulling down that one line there, so that you mark it there. That's where you need to be for your rafter. I'm going to show you how to mark your seat. And typically you do this one time, you lay it out, and then you use this one as a pattern. So you put it on there, got your pivot point on your measurement that you marked there. You swing your square around to 12, because we're, again, 12 and 12. So there it is. You make another mark there, okay? So you got your plumb, that's called your plumb cut, plumb mark. And to get your seat, you don't want to have any less than, you like to have 3.5 because that's what your wall is, but with a 2x4, if you had 3.5, your plumb cut would be real skinny and your tail break off. So you don't want any less than 2 inches on the seat though. So what you do is you take your square, you line it up on your plumb cut right here. And this Swanson square, most squares have a rule right here so you can see how big it is. But you line up your square on the plumb cut like that, and then I'm going to do 2 1/4 right here on the seat. So you line it up there, and you get 2 1/4 with this edge of the board, and then you just scribe it like that. Okay, that gives you your seat cut. So then when you cut it, you would cut here and there and notch that out, and that's where your rafter would sit on the wall. The other thing for your rafter is your overhang, which that's totally up to you. I'm going to mark 6 inches just because it's easy to mark. What you would do is basically come the other way and lay your square on the line like that and slide it down till you can mark 6 inches here. See? Wasn't able to mark 6 inches. So, and then you take your square, slide it up on 12, and then you slide it till it hits that mark you made right there. And then you cut that there, and that's your rafter tail. So that's how you lay it out and cut your rafter.